Summer suddenly finds herself pulled from the edge of suspicion straight into the heart of a murder investigation. And this time, it is not just whispers, worry, or street gossip following her around Weatherfield. Lisa takes Summer in for questioning after Kit's revelation, and that one move changes the mood completely. Because once the police start asking questions, every look, every silence, and every memory from the night Theo died begins to matter. For Summer, this could be a deeply unsettling moment. She is not being left to process things quietly. She is being drawn into something official, something serious, something that could have consequences far beyond one difficult conversation. And when a death is involved, especially Theo's death, nobody gets to hide behind half answers for long. The real tension here is not just that Summer is questioned, it is what Kit has revealed, and what Lisa now believes may be important enough to bring Summer in. Kit has already made his presence felt in the wider investigation, and now his revelation appears to push things in a direction that Summer may not have expected. Whether she is frightened, defensive, confused, or simply overwhelmed, the pressure around her is clearly building. And out on the street, Todd steps in. Todd defending Summer to Lisa says a lot. It suggests he does not want her judged too quickly. He may see someone vulnerable being pulled into something frightening, or he may simply believe that Summer deserves compassion before suspicion. Either way, his reaction brings an emotional layer to the investigation. Because in Weatherfield, police questions never stay neatly inside an interview room. They spill into the street, into families, into friendships, into every uncomfortable glance between people who thought they knew each other. Todd's defense of Summer could be seen as loyalty, but it also highlights how divided people may become as more details around Theo's death begin to surface. Some may want answers at any cost. Others may fear that the wrong person could be placed under too much pressure. And Summer, caught in the middle, may have no easy way to explain herself. But then George becomes part of the picture. Later, George quizzes Summer about Theo's death, and that is where the atmosphere grows even more intense. Because this is not just idle curiosity. A flashback reveals what George saw on the night Theo died, and that detail alone raises the stakes massively. What did George witness? Why has it now become important? And how much does Summer already know? The spoiler does not confirm the full truth, and that makes the moment even more gripping. George questioning Summer could feel gentle on the surface, or it could feel like he is trying to piece together something that has been troubling him. But whatever his tone, the flashback suggests that the night of Theo's death still has hidden corners. There are things viewers have not yet fully understood. There may be moments from that night that change how the whole situation is seen. And for Summer, George's questions could be incredibly difficult to handle. If she knows something, the pressure of being asked directly could shake her. If she does not know what George saw, then his questioning could frighten her even more. And if she realizes that someone else's memory might connect her to Theo's final night, her reaction could say more than words ever could. That is what makes this storyline feel so tense. It is not built on loud drama alone. It is built on the fear of what people remember, what they reveal, and what they choose to hold back. At the same time, another family in Weatherfield is dealing with its own nightmare. Ben receives a call from the police and learns that Megan has been released on bail. That news lands heavily, especially after everything surrounding Will. A release on bail does not mean the situation is over. If anything, for Ben and his family, it may feel like the fear has just walked back into their lives. Ben is already under pressure, and this latest update clearly pushes him closer to breaking point. When Maggie turns up for the family lunch and reveals that Ollie invited her, Ben is unimpressed. That small detail matters because it shows how little control Ben feels he has. He is trying to manage a family crisis, trying to protect Will, trying to deal with the shock of Megan being out on bail, and suddenly there is another person at the table, another voice, another emotional complication. A family lunch should be a place to steady things. Instead, it becomes another scene of tension. Ben then tells Will that Megan is out on bail. That is not easy news to give, and it is not easy news for Will to hear.
Maggie's reaction is horror, and she assures Will that she will protect him. On paper, those words are meant to comfort him, but in a situation this sensitive, even promises of protection can show just how frightening the reality has become. Because Will is not just dealing with a distant rumor, he is hearing that Megan is out. He is watching the adults around him react, and even when people mean well, their fear can make the danger feel even bigger. Then Ben loses his temper, and in that moment, the family lunch changes completely. Ben drops the bombshell on Ollie and Will. The spoiler does not spell out every emotional detail of how that moment plays out, but it is clear that Ben's anger pushes the truth, or at least a devastating part of it, into the open. For Ollie and Will, this could be a moment that cannot be taken back. Ben may feel he is reacting out of fear, Maggie may feel she is trying to protect Will, Ollie may be shocked by what he hears, and Will may be left at the center of a family storm he never asked for. This is where Coronation Street often hits hardest, not just in the crime or the accusation, but in what happens when frightened families sit around a table and the truth comes out badly. A single outburst can damage trust. A single sentence can change how a child sees the adults around them. And Ben, already unimpressed by Maggie's arrival and rattled by Megan's bail, seems dangerously close to letting his emotions take over. But the pressure around Megan and Will does not stay inside that family lunch either. Elsewhere, Nina shows Daniel and Jody vile online posts, and the nature of those posts is deeply disturbing. They suggest that Daniel knew about Megan grooming Will, and they drag up the painful accusation that Daniel was once guilty of grooming Summer. That is a cruel and dangerous mix. Online abuse can spread fast, and once people start twisting the past into the present, the damage can be brutal. For Daniel, this is not just unpleasant gossip, it is personal. It links him to a serious situation involving Megan and Will, while reopening something painful connected to Summer. And for Jody, being shown those posts by Nina could bring shock, anger, and confusion all at once. The big question is, who is behind the abuse? Is someone deliberately targeting Daniel? Is this connected to the wider fallout around Megan and Will? Or is someone using old accusations and current fear to cause maximum harm? The spoiler keeps that part uncertain, which makes the situation even more unsettling. Because when abuse appears online, the person responsible can hide behind a screen, while the people being attacked are left to face the consequences in real life. And this is where the episode seems to tie its tensions together. Summer is being questioned after Kit's revelation. George has something from the night of Theo's death that may matter. Daniel is being dragged into vile online posts that mention Summer and Megan. Ben is losing control as Megan's bail news shakes his family. Everywhere you look, secrets, fear, and accusations are closing in. For Summer, the pressure is coming from more than one direction. She is linked to Theo's death through police questioning and George's memories. Her past is being dragged into online abuse aimed at Daniel, and even if she wants to stay calm, Weatherfield is making that almost impossible. So as George asks his questions, and the flashback reveals what he saw on the night Theo died, one emotional question hangs over everything. When Summer is finally confronted with what someone else remembers, will she hold herself together? Or will her reaction reveal more than she ever meant to say?